I am Conan Librarian with Conan's EDC, Easy Dad Carry, and today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This is not an EDC. This is actually my toolkit, and I do not, in fact, carry this with me every day. It usually rides in my car. It'll go in my go bag if I'm doing something in particular that I think I might need to get more hands-on with. But this guy coming in, let's weigh it to start out. It's been a minute since I weighed it. Let's see here. No, that's not right. We're gonna let it scale. Hello. This guy comes in right at it's moving down about 26. It started about 27 ounces, so I'm gonna say that comes in just under 2 pounds, and that makes sense for everything I carry in here. I see a lot of videos of guys carrying a ridiculous amount of tools with them, and honestly, I don't get it. I carry a multi-tool, I carry a knife, and if I can't handle something aside from what those can handle, then obviously I'm just underpacked and I need to get something like my toolkit. So I'm just gonna pop this open and go through what I carry in my toolkit. As far as experience, a lot of home repair stuff, and I've been in automotive for a long time. I am not a technician or a mechanic, but hands-on with a lot of automotive and parts and cars. So a lot of what I have is to take care of, well, a lot of random stuff with some more car focused, depending, but we'll just get into it. And I'm going to try to make this kind of quick. Everyone usually knows what most tools are. Start out, though, with a little flashlight. That's just a little AAA, nothing amazing, but honestly, since I usually have a light, this is more backup. But especially if I've got to fix something in the night, I need something that I can just have, that even if I'm working on something and I drop it, I break it, I'm not going to be too heartbroken. That's the big thing, is there are a few things in here I definitely spend some money on, but overall, I'm not going to carry a big, expensive, small toolkit, because that doesn't make sense. I spent money on good size, very good quality tools, and they're in my garage for when I need to fix stuff. This is just for when I'm on the go, and if I lose all this, it'll be a bummer, but it's not going to break the bank. So a flashlight. This here, well, first off, a lot of you may recognize this. This is hands down my favorite tool. I carry this every day at work, and honestly, I'll even carry one of these around on my off day a lot of times. Just a snap-on long screwdriver, great for prying, great for poking. It's got a magnet on the end of it. So yeah, honestly, if you ever see one of these, pick these up for EDC or your toolkit just to have. They're awesome. Right here, I've actually got, this is the backing off a name tag, is a magnet, just because a lot of times if I'm fixing something or taking apart screws, I have nowhere to put screws and I don't want to lose stuff. So a magnet is super helpful, even if say you're under the hood of a car and you need to find a place to mount something. A magnet helps create mounts for other items. So a magnet, screwdriver, flashlight, a pen, just because you never know, and I always like having a pen with me. Again, I usually have one in my pockets, but this is a kind of grab and go, or if I need to hand it to someone because they say, hey, I need a tool, this covers really all my bases. Metal one, I could go with smaller, but honestly, this is light, and I like that the metal is kind of rugged and tougher than some other stuff I might just have on me, or rather be able to find or get hands on. Sharpie, just because you never know when you're going to need to notate something big, make more permanent mark, or just need to make a bigger note. And Sharpie is permanent. It's not going to come off the same way as ink or pencil. Speaking of pencil, especially I like pencil when I'm doing any sort of woodworking or need to take a quick note and I don't want to leave anything permanent, especially if I'm, say, marking on a wall that I'm hanging something on, because I can literally just erase it. And the color is because that's what came in a little $1 tin from the dollar store. Ranger band, just so I can band something together if need be. This is a pretty small one, but it's a good way to bundle stuff. A box cutter. I have a blade in my multi-tool here. You'll notice I don't have necessarily a dedicated blade, though. That's because this isn't really for cutting stuff apart, it's for fixing mostly. So this is going to help with a lot of things. It stows easy, it's light, and a razor blade is still hella sharp. I don't have to worry about this going dull in here. If it snaps, just go on to the next blade. And I really don't want to spend a bunch of money on a knife that I have in a toolkit that I generally just use in an emergency. A little extension, I'll get to that once I get into this side here. In this back pocket, and I guess I should say, the pouch itself. This is not Maxpedition. I forget exactly the brand, but I got 2 of these, and these squares are actually 1 inch piece, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just about 7-8 inches here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5, so 7 by 5 on this. It was $10 for 2 of these pouches. It's got the molly, it's got a good loop, it's got a belt, or it's got a pouch on the front, it's got this Velcro on the front. This patch, honestly, I've been in management for a long time as well, and this has always been one of my go-to motivational sayings. I just have always found it hilarious, but pouch itself, Maxpedition is very cool, and it's got some cool features, but honestly, I've had this kit now for a couple years, and this bag has never failed me. I've never felt unsecure. It has never failed to zip, and it carries around almost 2 pounds of stuff easily. This is a good solid amount of Gorilla Tape, just along a piece of old, I think, gift card, Speedway gift card or something, just because tape is one of those fixes that half of the time all I need is this, and I can probably fix whatever I'm having to deal with. It's got a pouch in the back. In the back is actually, well, a washer. This is just for scraping or weights, or if I need to tie something off. Honestly, having something like this may seem odd, but it's a good thing to have in case I really need to scrape or tap. Throw a washer in your toolkit, and I think you'll be surprised how often you might use just literally a piece of metal that you can beat up and not care about. Let's see if there's anything else on this side in the back. We got a couple more things. You can see this. There's a lot in here. I've forgotten some of it. A couple tiny little wooden dowel pegs. You might recognize these if you've ever put together a piece of IKEA furniture. I like to carry these. One, you could technically use it for fire starting if you're in an emergency. But 2, just literally filling a hole in wood with one of these is super easy to pound this in, saw it off, and you've filled a gap. Or if you need to grind it down for shavings into smoothing something out. This is another one, just wrapped in a few feet of electrical tape. I didn't realize I had this. I thought I had a flat wrap of electrical tape. I'll probably honestly leave this out and do a flat wrap like I did this. And then an Allen wrench in one of the more common sizes that I use, because sometimes I don't want to have to get a kit together. Sometimes you just want to have the one thing you can grab, and that's what you'll notice. There may be some redundancy, but what it comes down to is ease of use as well. I don't want to carry anything overly complicated, and I don't necessarily want to be overpacked, but also I don't want to have to put together something crazy if I just need to fix, like I said, one of the most common sizes I use, because I'm pretty sure this came in one of my first pieces of IKEA furniture I ever built, or at least it fit one of the first pieces I ever built, and this thing has been used on pretty much every other piece of furniture in my home at this point. Right up here, this is probably the most expensive thing that I have in here. This is the Knipex mini water pump pliers. These things are in fact amazing. I definitely spent the money, and I wanted to. They're only 4 inches, 1, 2, 3, so you can see 4 inches. But these pliers are just absolutely amazing. You'll notice I do not have a regular wrench in here, and I carried one for a long time, and I thought about keeping one in and cutting the handle. Maybe I'll still do that, but honestly, this has become my go-to, and I have yet to tackle something or get into something that this has not been able to take care of in an emergency. Or if I'm, say I'm at the office, I have to put together an office chair, something like that. These Knipex are just awesome and absolutely well worth every penny. On here, and I'll get into the drivers and the bits real quick. This is, and I've seen a few types of these, but you can see it's the Pat, and I absolutely love this. A good little mini ratcheting, solid ratchet, just super solid, feels good, heavy duty, and the bottom, has its own spot as well for, it's not ratcheting in the bottom, but you can actually plug in a full 1/4 inch here. What I really like is, say I need length, and I can build this out, I can add stuff to this, but if I really need length up here, I can also put something up here. So say one of these actual sockets. So you'll see I've got bits of all types on here. I've got the extension here, but say I really need some extra torque on this, I have the ability to create more torque and more handle on it. These sizes are a little more common in automotive. Like I said, this stays in my car, and it's usually used for automotive stuff. That's what I've found 99% of the time I end up using this for. So having the tools for that has come really in handy in a lot of ways. I've done a lot of just driveway repairs for myself, or even just doing actual work to replace a belt or hoses or whatever, just with these tools themselves. So a good little mini ratchet goes a long way. I would carry this with me normally, except the weight. It's definitely heavy. Let me see here. Get this guy to turn on. I don't know if you could see that, but it says hello when it turns on. I just love this little guy. This thing is 2 ounces, which may not seem like a lot, but it's actually kind of heavy, especially if I'm trying to keep, in general, more a minimalistic carry like I usually try to do. So, sockets, ratchet, extension, bits. Even if all I did was honestly slim this down to just a single sleeve carry, I would probably go with these items, and it may seem like overkill, but I have really found these are the majority of what I end up using that have been just super helpful to have. So if you're going to carry something for your car, if you don't want to carry a whole rail, you can get these bits that actually have the 1/4 inch to go in just a regular ratchet if you want to. Up next is honestly one of my favorite multi-tools. This is the, let's see if you'll, there it is, almost. You can read it. It's the K-knife. Oh no, that's a terrible thing for video quality. But it's the, it's a K-knife or F-knife. I'll find the link and post it. But it's the P202B Ganzo. This is the non-locking one, but it's just a kind of cheap multi-tool. I think this thing cost me 15 bucks. But it's solid. It does great with a lot of repairs. It's got a good solid kit on it. It's got a nice saw. Honestly, I actually throw one of these in my hiking and camping bag too. I know it doesn't have locking, but honestly, when I've used it, I have yet to run into a thing where I said, oh, I wish this was locking. I just think this is a great little cheap tool that, again, when it comes down to it, wouldn't kill me if I lost it or broke it on accident. The other reason I like this is it does have a full fold-out 1/4 inch on it, so I can turn this into something if I need even larger grip, or say I'm working on something where I need 2 ratcheting points, or I need a way to actually handle multiple things. I have another tool where I can do that, because a lot of times when you're fixing something, it turns out that, well, it's a little more complicated than just the one tool you need. A couple band-aids, because of all this stuff I'm using, it is not uncommon for me to nick myself, or if I'm trying to fix something in a rush or a hurry, just a band-aid's nice to have, because you never know. In the back, an extendable mirror. This has really come in handy. Again, this is more an automotive tool like a lot of this stuff, but the fact that it extends, so if I need to, say, try to find something, just a little pocket mirror. It's got a clip so I can hang it on my shirt if I need to while I'm doing something. Little pocket mirror, super convenient. In the back, some earplugs, because you never know where you're going to have to do work or what you're going to be doing. I just like to have earplugs, because I also find that while I seem to have lost a fair amount of, unfortunately, as I've been told when I can actually hear them say it, I've lost some of my hearing as I've gotten a little bit older and spent more time in shops and around cars, I still get overly sensitive to some noise. It's weird. So earplugs, they're good for your ears, or if you're just trying to concentrate while you work. This little guy is a recent addition. I really like these, so you'll find them online. It is a titanium toothpick. Now, I'll be honest, I would absolutely never put one of these in my mouth. I will never use this as an actual toothpick. However, it is sharp as hell. It's convenient to store, and if I need to lance something, poke something, having a super sharp contact point is really convenient, and the fact that it stores so easily is also really nice. I've been experimenting with carrying these and seeing what I can do with them. I threw one in my first aid kit just for medical stuff, and I'll probably end up carrying one just in my sling bag too, because it's good to sometimes just have something for poking or lancing. I know that seems silly, but I mean, this thing is tiny. It's no bigger than a matchstick really, and it's super light, so I really don't regret throwing a couple of these just around in my different kits. What else is in the back here? Fresnel lens, whatever it is. One, you can always start a fire with one of these. Well, I say always. If you have the ability to, or if you have the skill, they can be used to start fires. Also, though, if I'm trying to fix something and need to see something closer, or read an instruction or a label or whatever it is, this is always helpful. This is actually a microbit adapter, or the small bit. So this adapter, and I want a better way to store this, but at the same time, this Ziploc is light, it's stowable. But this will turn a 1/4 inch bit into a microbit driver, which is super convenient for if you're working on, say I'm at work and I need to fix the hinges on a knife. My Civivi Baby Banter that I absolutely love, this guy right here, I love this thing, but it tends to get some wobble after a little bit of use, so being able to carry something where I can easily tighten this up and I don't have to carry a bunch of extra stuff, and especially because microbits are sometimes the only thing you can find, it's just really convenient to be able to have some tiny little bits and the ability to be able to use them without having to carry a whole extra tool. That's the other thing, is that I don't have to carry an extra tool for a microbit. I have the extension and I can use any microbit I can get my hands on. So a microbit extension, you can find it on Amazon for dirt cheap. I highly recommend it. So that way, like I said, you're not carrying an extra tool. Let's see what else is back here. You can again see how much space and storage this has. This is a pad of tough sticky notes. These things are awesome. They're essentially right in the rain, super tough, just sticky notes. The paper is great and solid. I probably don't need a whole pad, but at the same time, if I'm planning something out or I want to do something, I'm a guy who likes to sketch. It's the same reason I always have a pen or pencil on me. So having paper is always good. Plus, if you need to leave notes, say you had to, or you're trying to fix a car and you need to leave a note if you have to leave the car, it's always good to have paper for multiple reasons. So sticky notes. Got something else in here. Oh, extra battery for the flashlight. Always good. I should probably wrap that in something so it doesn't accidentally connect. And yeah, last bit is zip ties. Now they're pretty small. I used to have some larger ones. I didn't realize they didn't replace them yet, but this is just maybe 8 or 9 small zip ties. And this is, by the way, the best way I've found to store zip ties. You just take a regular zip tie, cut off the bulk end or snip it or keep it as long as you want, and you can literally feed zip ties on and off of this thing as need be for storage. So that way you don't have to worry about them getting all tangled up. They'll stay in one place and they'll be locked on your, I don't know what you want to call it, a zip tie, like a zip tie bar maybe. Super convenient way. I think I saw this on a video a long time ago. I don't remember. I don't think I'm going to take credit, but it is now how I store multiple zip ties, so that way they don't get all bunched up. They don't really go anywhere. Yeah, my zip tie bar. And that is everything in here except, of course, up top, little keychain dongle. I guess you could put keys or whatever you want. I have, as I have in all my packs, one of these little button flashlights. Because again, if I'm doing something in the dark, I have this always with me. So if I need to, I can look at what I have. I can look at the area that I'm working in. And a little pry bar. Just that way, another extra point of pulling something up because maybe I don't want to, or I'm using this as a dedicated tool. Just a good way to handle nails or tacks too. Because if you'll notice, I don't have a full-blown pry bar or hammer in here. So that is everything in the bag. Now, like I said, this is not Maxpedition. This thing was 10 or 12 bucks for two of them, and you can see how much storage is in here. I'm not bashing Maxpedition. I'm just saying that if you see a really cool bag or a piece of tactical gear, I guarantee there's something out there pretty comparable for a lot friendlier budget. So yeah, I hope that some of these tools make sense. If you think something is junk, if you think there's a tool I could add that's kind of on theme here, let me know. I hope that any of this has been useful, and I hope that any of this is something that might end up in your own gear. So as always, thank you very much for spending your time with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It is huge. It is appreciated. More importantly though, leave a comment. Like I said, tell me what sucks, tell me what's good, tell me what would work better or what's a waste of my time. I would absolutely love to hear it. So as always, stay safe, be prepared, and have a great day.